I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name's Tiara.
I'm LaWanda.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And today we are here to talk Force. This is season 1, episode 7, and it was titled Outrunning a Ghost. So hang tight and we'll be right back. We are back, and like I said, we are talking Force. This episode, I was trying to figure out what the COVID restrictions looked like on the set because they was kissing everybody.
I mean, they were giving up cooties left and right. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, so I was like, I know that they always talk about how like they have to be extra careful and they got to wear the face shields in between scenes, but I think all that might be out the window now. Maybe everybody had the negative test.
Yeah, I think they do that beforehand.
Yeah, so that, I mean, it was funny to watch that go down because the whole idea was for Liliana to go ahead and get her crew of girls together and get them out into the clubs to spread the word about Dahlia. And so it seems like everybody is getting a hit of this drug and loving it. So, I mean, they might as well go ahead and steal McDonald's logo. I'm loving it.
Did you see Liliana had her little outfit on and her heels and stuff? I was like, okay, Liliana cleaning up nicely.
Yeah, she cleaned up real well. Head to scar, you know. I'm like, oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
My question, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
My question, the young lady that was all over Jannard in the car, was she supposed to give the vial to Jannard?
I don't know. I don't know if she was supposed to be giving up the whole product like that. And that's a good question because most people just got samples from the lip. Yeah, but he got quite a bit because if just the lip sample is enough for you to... And
she gave him the vial.
Right, to get blown away like that, that was a lot. He could really like go overboard on that, not knowing how much to take. And Diamond really brought up a very good point about the drug. And he was saying like, we don't know nothing about this drug. We don't know any like the side effects. We don't know what could happen. We don't even understand what it is. So he made a very good point, and shout out to Isaac Keys again for joining us recently. If you haven't already, make sure you go and watch that interview with him. He is wonderful. That was a great interview.
It was. We had a lot of fun. He was real cool.
Right.
But he had a very good point, and I think it comes from his history. Like he was bringing up in interviews saying he had already gone to jail for bad drugs. And so just jumping head first into this new drug and not understanding it is a huge mistake. So,
but I also think like he's the voice of reason. A person who's had to spend time, they're looking at it like we held it down while you were gone, but he's like, I'm the one that went to prison. It wasn't fun. So let's move with caution. Same kind of conversation he was having when they were talking about trying to open up territory in Gary. Like all y'all see is the potential for money, but nobody's thinking about the downside and the risk.
And Jannard is impulsive. I mean, and that's why I think it was a good question to Isaac, how far he would go to allow Jannard to try to take over the helm, because he's so impulsive. And you would think he learned something from his brother being in jail, but apparently, that just skipped right by him.
Yeah, and I figured it wouldn't be smooth sailing off into the sunset between those two, because last week it seemed like things might have gotten better, but this week proves that they are not on the same page, and Jannard is still going to do what Jannard wants to do.
Yeah.
Jannard is Jannarding.
Pretty much. That's the new verb, Jannarding.
He's still after Tommy, and it's like, can you let that go?
Even D-Mac said that.
That's right.
You know, D-Mac.
But what did you guys think about D-Mac warning Tommy instead of actually going after him like he was supposed to?
Well, we know that came from that.
Well, he was supposed to give him the drop. He was supposed to let him know. And then I guess Jannard wants to be the one to pull the trigger, because he said, you know, either way he's gonna get bodied. But I'm glad that D-Mac is stepping up in that regard. My early prediction when I saw how everything played out with D-Mac and Marshall, the drama with them.
Oh my goodness.
I think that's gonna come to a head. And I feel like D-Mac gonna probably end up having to take Marshall out.
I mean, Marshall pulled the gun on him. You
that's
know,
what I'm saying.
That's a step over the line.
Yeah, he pulled the gun on him. And
Yeah,
then,
but D-Mac, I mean, you hit a brother in the back of the head like that, you know, you come up on a brother like that, you know, I can understand Marshall getting angry and upset.
But he did fight him back. When he turned after he got up, he did hit D-Mac back. But then he took it a step further by then pulling the gun on him.
Yeah, because he was pissed. But I want to go back a step. I think the reason D-Mac, you know, wanted to warn Tommy is because of what he saw a couple episodes back.
It is.
You know, I think he saw that relationship. So obviously he knows who his father is. And so
he knows who his father is, but he knows that Tommy is connected, but he don't know what way. I know there was people in the comments speculating about who he thinks Tommy is to JP, but I don't know.
I don't know, but I think that's why, and I like D-Mac for that. So, you know, I got to give him, you know, kudos for, you know, protecting in that regard. Although he did say he would wind up doing it, but I just don't think he will. I honestly think
he just was saying that to them.
Yeah.
Do we make the assumption that because he approached Tommy after Tommy had came back from meeting with JP, that he probably saw that interaction as well?
I don't know.
Because they didn't show it, but if you think about it,
he been following him. He may have seen it.
Yeah, he may have seen it.
Well, we still see he's dragging his feet because Jannard asked him again to you know, find out where Tommy, you know, was, and again, you know, he had to straighten him out and say, look, you know, I'll do it in time. You know, just give me some time. You just asked.
This is why I think. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I said, this is why I think things are going to come to a head, because I think Marshall is so eager, and he and D-Mac are now at odds. I think he may try to make a move at JP or Tommy, and it's going to force D-Mac's hand, and he's probably going to have to take Marshall out.
I was about to say something along that lines, because like it was really a betrayal this week, because D-Mac had the initial idea to spread into Indiana where they could be couriers, and then, you know, Diamond kind of shut that down. But then later on, Marshall ends up making the deal with Jannard anyways, and he cut D-Mac out of it. And so it's kind of like a betrayal there, where that's the whole reason he ran up on him in the first place. So I think that not only was the betrayal done, but then you pull your gun out on me, and that changes our relationship. Once you pull a gun on me, we can't come back from that.
Right, we can't. And he also said, when he asked, he said, "You cutting me out?" He said, "You gotten soft." He said, "You too soft." He said, "Because when we were hitting the bars, you wouldn't let us." So that's another reason why they cut him off. So
tell me how you really feel. So yeah, that's an interesting situation. And then of course, cousin Buddy, who is played by the gentleman, I'm forgetting
Freddie
his no, not Freddie Gibbs. Cousin Buddy played
Braxton is playing by Barton.
Yes, Barton Fitzpatrick, I think his last name is.
That was Reg on The Chi.
Yes. So he is in town, and he is their cousin. But he's offering help, and I'm like, he seems to have taken sides with Jannard. So I'm like, how is this going to affect the family relationship going forward? it's never a good idea to bring family in on things, as Tommy has already preached to JP. So you have family wanting to come in on both sides with cousin Buddy, and then with JP coming back this week and basically pleading with Tommy again, making his case. And then he even told Tommy that they should tell Kate so about, grandma getting ready to, she's deteriorating and may pass. And so he's like, well, we should invite Kate back in town.
You said that, didn't you, Tiff?
What about
that they would probably bring Kate?
I did say that. I said that. I was like, you know what? I said, grandma is going down. I said, she either gonna die or whatever, and Kate gonna come. And it's funny that JP said, Tommy was trying to explain how Kate is, and JP was like, well, I don't know that. She left after she cut the umbilical cord. Well, you do know that because she left after she cut the umbilical cord.
But he wants to know more, and I like that about JP, and he should know more. He should know more. So. He should. Yeah, so I think after he explained it to Tommy might have gotten a sense of awareness. In other words, okay, I guess you're right. But yeah, it's an interesting dynamic between the two, and I see it unfolding. And so I think we're going to have some good, relationships between the two of them in terms of how they play out.
We'll see how long it lasts.
Right.
I want to protect JP because I'm just as concerned as Tommy. I want Tommy to keep him at bay from the business for real.
And you heard Tommy tell JP, like, I lost a friend in this game.
A brother.
Yeah, a brother. Yeah. And so he kind of reiterated that again, like, it's serious. This is not a game. He told him, like, JP was saying, can I have a small role? He's like, there is no small role.
No, there ain't no easy part to this.
Yeah. So I don't know what JP was previously involved in, but I don't know if he understands the gravity of how deep in Tommy is. So and even the gravity of asking to bring Kate back. Like, he gotta slow his roll and try to put things into perspective for real, because I think he is way too optimistic about these situations.
He just don't know how trash Kate is.
Well, he has to learn for himself. So
he does. He
he really does.
Yeah. And then back on Diamond and on the side of Diamond and CBI, like, Diamond seemed like he might have still been interested in Dahlia, because when he went and approached Tommy about it, he was asking him, like, what do you know about this drug? And of course, we know Tommy played dumb, but then he was like, this drug has the chance to rewrite history. And so even though he told Jannard, like, no, we're not doing this, he seems very intrigued still.
I think Tommy picked up Diamond picked up something from Tommy when Tommy was trying to play it off. He didn't give any, acknowledgement to it, but and it seemed in his eyes to me, he kind of picked up that Tommy might know a little more than what he was, actually saying.
No.
And
Tommy, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Like I said, from the beginning, I just think it was a very bad move for the young lady to give Jannard that vow, because Jannard knows what it's like, and pardon my expression, but it's like orgasm in a vow. At least that's the way they look, when they take it. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting when Jannard finds out that Tommy's behind that drug.
Yeah. And then I'm wondering about this Indiana deal, because of course you mentioned, like, the deal he made at the end of the episode with the gentleman from Gary. It's kind of like they had existing beef, but they're just coming together maybe to distribute the cocaine. But if he introduces Dahlia into this, then they're already rivals, and we've seen how powerful this drug is. And so that, like, some people might do some things, cutthroat things that were unexpected. So I think that overall what Jannard is doing, without even understanding the drug, without understanding where it came from, and then building this network to expand, he's bringing a lot of trouble into the city.
Yeah, like I said, I loved his line. He said, "Can you see the future? I mean, what you're good at,
Yeah, he played him. So I was like, see, these low blows, Jannard, he's mouthy.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I thought about that, because if you think Jannard is going to bring trouble into the city, I think Tommy is too, because his brand But if you introduce a drug like that corners the market, you got more to worry about than like the local players in the city. That's going to have like international impact. So I'm just like, is he ready for this? Because I'm like, I feel Tommy, but I'm also like, Claudia is like, okay, let's keep it exclusive, move slowly. And I think I kind of feel her on that, because I'm like, you're going to open up a door to a lot of stuff.
That's a good point.
But he caught drift, because if you remember a little later on in the episode, he said we need to find another chemist, a cook. Yeah. And so I think, because just like you said, you open this thing up worldwide, you can't meet that demand with that little small group that you have. You just won't be able to do so. So, but then, there are two points. I like Tommy's point in terms of making a lower grade, because you saw the lower grade didn't hit you as quickly as that.
But it still hit.
But it still hit.
It was a delayed hit, but it hit.
But it hit you. I like the idea, but do you want a drug that's strictly for those who, the higher echelon, and no one else can afford it? Because after all, distribution and profit is what you're after. So in one hand, I understand Tommy for wanting to do so, but like you said, Lawanda, moving too quickly, and even in small businesses, if your business grows, you open up the doors tomorrow, and then by Friday you got all this, all these requests, and you can't meet the demand, it can burn your business. So it's the same ideology.
Yeah, but now it's not only just one cook though, because the chemist, of course, knows how to do it. And even after she figured out how to remix the drug, she seemed like she told Tommy, like, I'll be here tomorrow. Like, she seemed invested in coming back. And I don't know if she's had a change of mind or if she knows exactly what she's doing by saying that.
She took the hit.
Yeah, and so I mean, when they took that hit, and I was like, please don't let anything bad happen, because I don't know about the streets, but I thought that when you get a new drug, you make your lower level men test it out first before you do it. Because I'm like, anything could have went wrong right there with all of the top dogs taking it at the same time. If something happens and all of y'all get taken out, then it's just a wrap for everybody.
Right. The thing is, I see both of your points, Ron and Lawanda's point about Tommy and Claudia with the drug, because in the beginning, it was Tommy who was saying at first, like, we need to take our time and stuff. And then, like, before the end of the episode, he had shifted gears. I guess maybe after the club, how it went like wildfire at the club or whatever. Then it was like, oh no, we got to get this to everybody. It's too high and everything. And I feel like the same questions that Diamond had. You kind of have to test this drug. I feel like right now everybody's enjoying it, but I'm still waiting for the fallout. Like, there may be a batch that may end up like what we saw in Raising Canaan.
Right.
People having some fallout behind this.
And you heard what Tommy said though, when Liliana was talking to him. He was telling her how this is like his first time being in charge and running it. And I think that's where the overexcitement came in, and the eagerness to like hurry up and get things going. And so that's when Liliana had to tell him, like, slow your roll. If you keep pushing too hard, then everything's going to go left. So I think that he's just overexcited about finally having a great product and being the head of, getting it out there.
I think the same thing about Liliana. She too over eager to get rid of the chemist. And I'm like,
I think she want to get rid of Claudia.
I understand that, but she was also saying the chemist, like,
yeah, she did say that.
She said she knows too much.
She knows too much. Yeah, I know.
She knows the formula, and I think for me, even if you're working with her side by side and you're watching her put together the formula, you got the formula, but you still don't know why it works.
Yes.
You don't know the science behind it.
Right.
And so the idea that you just want to get rid of her that quickly makes no sense to me.
No.
Yeah. And the chemist
replicate it.
Yeah, Lauren kept telling them, like, you have to get this perfect, because any compromise in the cut, it could change the whole thing. It can increase the chances of it being duplicated, and then you just don't have a product at all, or it's just going to self-destruct like it kept doing in the lab.
Right. It can become toxic just with one additional microgram. So you definitely need the, the chemist who understands and knows what she's doing. And that will be a big major fall if Liliana, whom I think is a liability, I'll keep saying it until it's proven, but
she's trying to get rid of her competition. She's just not looking out for them. She probably sees, okay, if we have her, if she's gone, then I become more important. I become more essential.
Right. She's not looking, she doesn't see the value in herself with the chemist. And to a point, she has a point. But until you go to, university and study chemistry and biology and whatever else you need to be a person of that caliber, you need to just chill.
Lauren is an MD.
Yeah, you need to chill.
Yeah.
And also she said with the product that she instituted a fail-safe in the product too. So that, Liliana doesn't know what that is.
And she tried with the other one. There was a fail-safe in the other one. She tried with that, couldn't work. So Liliana better take a step back and understand her role.
She does. She seemed like, I hear what y'all saying about the chemist, but she seemed like she more interested in getting rid of Claudia, because she keeps saying, I told you can't trust her and stuff. And she was saying, let me know when I need to, she want to get rid of Claudia. She doesn't trust her at all.
Well, look, at this point, I think Tommy might want to get rid of Claudia too. He kind of said, not yet, we still need her. Yeah. But she kind of has continued to be a liability with the security guys. And she didn't even I guess she told her father that she didn't want them, but she should have already known that he was going to send the security detail anyways. And so the fact that she didn't even recognize that or maybe she did recognize, I don't know. They didn't really make that explicit, whether she knew or not the security guys were following her. But Tommy was like, they outside in the car waiting for you to take them to the woods.
Wow. But it's interesting because the excerpts from next week, we see that Walter had approached Claudia about what she was doing, and he said he was going to smash her or something. Crush her. And see, that might be a good thing to take Claudia out. But then on the other hand, if you take Claudia out, you got Walter to deal with. So, and so now you got Walter, Vic, Claudia, and possibly Walter in on this new drug. Because I think that Claudia will say something to her dad about what it is she's doing. And
I don't think so.
I hope not. I
mean, she'd already went too far this week by giving Vic a sample.
Right.
So I think Tommy put her in her place for that move, because that was stupid and reckless. And then I just don't think she would say anything to Walter because she knows that he would try to hijack it.
Yeah, she's trying to prove herself too. And the thing is this, I know y'all said we know Tommy. Tommy will take her out if necessary. But I also think Tommy likes her. There's a little something there.
Yeah, he definitely flirted with her early on.
He likes her too. So I'm like, that's coming into play as well.
Yeah, he better take her out before she uses that, female magic on him. But I think that it's going to be a big mess, because you got Vic, you got Jannard, and possibly Walter, all now understanding. And remember, Vic and Jannard cut Tommy out of that original deal they had. And now that Vic and Jannard know about this drug, I don't know. I don't know how it will play with Tommy now, because I think he spread his this test a little too quickly, too broadly. I think it should have been a little more controlled than what it was. The idea was great. I thought Lillian and her girls, the idea was great, but then you got that one person, Well,
that was what's it called? First of all, that was Claudia doing the side deal. She was the one that told the chick to go after Vic. That was not Tommy's call at all.
No, I agree with that.
So that was Claudia.
Right, and that's why I say Claudia can be a liability here too, because she's doing little things on the side, and even though she said she wouldn't do it again, didn't she say that before one time? when she did something and Tommy didn't like it? I may be
I
wrong.
don't recall
I don't
that.
know if she did that, but I know that
No.
she's been warned several times by Tommy already.
Exactly. She's been warned, and so she keeps, I don't know what it is, stepping in her own mess, but you know, this could be a very problematic for Tommy now that Vic and we know Jannard are working together. So
She gonna end up in the woods too. She keep it up.
Yeah, and it looks like Walter might not be around too much longer anyway with his lung cancer diagnosis. So
and
I
smoking
mean,
on top of it. I mean, he's smoking like a chimney, and you got lung cancer. Great, Walter. We give you a few more months, and maybe you'll be out.
And if lung cancer don't take him out, they seem very concerned about the Serbs retaliating too. So that could also be a possibility. You know, Paulie tried to warn him. He's like, you know, we're really not strong enough to go against them. But, you know, Walter is stubborn and they have no choice for real but to prepare because the Serbs are definitely coming back for him.
So let's get back to Paulie, because I know earlier that you and Tiffany agreed or that Paulie might be the one that the feds can get to bring down Walter.
Through his son, though.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
we didn't say that he would you know, acquiesce.
Yeah,
but we
let me make my point. Wait, guys, let me make my point. My point being is Paulie didn't like one bit what Walter did in terms of bringing the Serbs in with all that heat.
Right.
You can see it on his face. So now my question is, what does he do to, you know, save himself? Or, you know, does he take it to another level and actually talk to the feds out of what Walter has done? Because like he said, you just opened up the gates to hell. Now,
I don't see that. I still don't see him being a snitch.
Yeah, because I think he understands that the consequences of snitching are way more. And I think Paulie is probably one of those guys that's like, I'll die before I rat. At least that's what he seems to me to be. We don't really know that much about him, but on the surface, that's what I would assume.
I thought that too earlier on, remember, because I was the one that kind of said, no, I don't think he would rat. But what I saw in his eyes after talking to Walter, you know, he looked like he was looking at a man that was totally unhinged and will do anything, or or I should say, has done something to just open up the gates of, you know, just total destruction.
Well, I think he understands too that Walter's on his last leg. And so a person like that doesn't have, you know, anything. Yeah, I mean, he has things to lose, but he kind of knows he's going to die anyway at some point. So it's like, what the heck? Like, I'm just going to go out blazing. So that's a dangerous person to be associated with because they're not necessarily considering what you have to lose.
Well, he might even take out Walter, you think?
Might he, because he asked me, it's like, do we have a problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm worried for Paulie. He better stay in line. The other person I'm worried about is Gloria, because her magically skipping town on Vic this week, I'm like, I don't think she voluntarily left.
You said what my son said. He said he thought she got snatched.
It seems like it.
I thought she did.
When you seen her interaction with Walter and with Claudia, she seemed like she was standing her ground when they tried to threaten her and push her out of town. And so for her to just all of a sudden like up and just run off, I don't know. They did get shot at last week, so maybe that could have had something to do with it. But I don't think she would be the type to be scared away.
Personally, I thought she took that deed and split, just like Claudia told her.
But you heard the conversation that Walter had with Vic. He seemed like very happy that it seemed like he had something to do with her disappearing. Because I think he thought that by getting rid of Gloria, that Vic would be like, okay, she's out the picture. I'm all about family now. But Vic really like blamed his father, and he was like, I should have stood up for what I wanted and not continue to look out for family and put family ahead of my own wants and needs. He's like, because Gloria accepted me for who I am already and not who I could be. So I think that if Walter had something to do with this, the plan backfired on him. Well, and I'm worried about Gloria.
It's been backfiring all along with Vic. You know, sometimes as a father, you gotta listen to your kids and understand where they're coming from. Walter was so concerned about Vic understanding where he's coming from that he couldn't see Walter's needs and determination. I mean, couldn't see Vic's needs and determination. And that's a hard thing to come back from, because Vic will never see his father in the same vein that he had, previously to Gloria. So it's going to be interesting, that dynamic between the two of them. Something's going to come to head.
Yeah. And then I guess last but not least, chick Adrian. So we finally figured out, her angle, and Tiff seems like you were somewhat right, because she didn't seem like she necessarily was going after Diamond. She kind of wanted to do like a more generic story. And then her boss is kind of forcing her, like, no, we want this story on Diamond Sampson. We want to see the rise and fall of the Kingpin, and it's great if we could catch him on the rise again, because if he goes back to jail, we could get a Pulitzer. I'm like,
yeah, and that's messed up. And it looks like she's not with it. It looks like she has feelings for him.
Right, she does.
Which we said that could possibly happen.
Yeah, I gotta give you
but
that.
she also went along with it because I think she doesn't want the story to get reassigned to someone else.
Oh no,
and
right,
they
right.
really do what the boss wants to do.
Yeah, I think she caught fever with Diamond, and like you said, Tiffany, that would happen. And apparently she's, on Diamond's side. So when she was approached by her boss, the idea of writing a story about Diamond is no longer, palatable for her. She thinks now, okay, maybe we could just do something generic and let it ride, but her boss wants more. So it does seem like she has feelings for Diamond, and she doesn't want to destroy him.
You know what? This episode, a lot of people were just going back and forth. You know what I mean? It seemed like everybody was kind of almost switching positions based on what they said they were going to do. Does that make sense? Because on the one hand, you have Tommy like, we're going to take our time. Now he's like pushing the gas. Let's go. Then you have Liliana, who's like, give the chemist a break. And then at the same time, she got to go.
And even with Jannard, he seemed so satisfied with the Serb pipeline last week. And now this week, he like, forget the Serb pipeline. We going into Gary.
Right.
Yeah. And then I'm looking at Adrian, because on a certain level, if you are an investigative journalist, I in my head thinking that there are some lines that you don't cross in order to, hold the integrity of your story. But once she became intimate, then there's something different. Now you care about where the story goes.
Right. She crossed the line already.
It's still gonna be a betrayal no matter what you do, because you met him under these false pretenses.
Yep, it is. And the thing is this too, I always feel like Jannard is a wild card, and Jannard knows that Diamond is getting some on a regular now.
Sure.
But does he know, once he finds out this girl's background and finds out she's a reporter, he's going to see her as a liability.
Oh, he definitely will. And
he'll see her as a liability, and I wouldn't put nothing past him.
Oh, he'll take her out.
To do something to her.
Right.
And he'll do it behind Diamond's
back. Yes, you see, he's always willing to go behind Diamond's back. So I was like, man, just like Snowfall, that reporter, Abby.
Yeah.
I was like, Adrian might be out of here too.
Yeah. That was a very, very not a smart move at all for Adrian to make, going to bed with Diamond before she knew, what it seems like she didn't even have a plan. It seemed like all she wanted to do was get the story. So she figured, I'll go to bed with him.
I'll get close to him.
Get close to him, get the story, and I'm done. Not thinking, well, what if I fall in love with it? I mean,
listen,
I don't know. Do women think that way?
No, listen, that is fine. She might have fell into his charms. I mean, come on now. Like she probably in her head, she had it how it was gonna go.
So you think that first sit when she saw him actually,
and charming and stuff. I mean, she went with the flow. Okay. She went with the flow.
All right.
Well, it seems to me the other way because she seemed like the aggressor. Like she came onto him strong. And I'm just like, I don't understand why that means to the end was necessary. Like if it was supposed to be a generic story, kind of like her boss was saying, it wasn't necessarily targeted at Diamond, then why did you need to go that hard in pursuing him if the story wasn't even supposed to be focused on him necessarily? So I'm like, yeah, her approach seems backwards to me. Not unless she kind of did some homework on him beforehand and was interested in him and figured, you know, I'm gonna get the story and I'm gonna get some from him. He's fine. So I don't know what her motives are or what her approach was, but it seems like she's coming at this backwards.
It's gonna come back to bite her.
For sure.
Yeah. But I think I like this episode just because now we finally have this new product, and so now we get to see how this disrupts things. So the cocaine, that's all fine and well, but the Dahlia is really the new story in town, and now it's going to be, I think, going forward, everybody trying to figure out who is behind this, and that's going to have some unintended consequences, I think, for Tommy. Because I don't know if they're as well insulated. Again, like I said, I don't know how well the lockers is going to continue to work out. I don't think that's well insulated enough for a drug that has this kind of power over people. So I'm still worried about that. And then, of course, Claudia is still a problem. The chemist seems like she's on board, but I think she's still going to be a liability. I don't know what happens to her.
She's definitely a liability.
Yeah, because she had to, Liliana called into her boss so nobody would be asking questions. Liliana tagged along on her date. And so
you know what? I wanted to give her
babysitting you could do.
Yes, I wanted to give Liliana and Tommy the hands for that, for going on the date. Because I'm like, I would have been heated. You don't mess up my action.
But I don't know, in terms of she being a liability, the chemist, you know, it was one thing when she was forced to do what she had to do. You know, I think she could have, you know, said, I was, you know, I did it under duress. But Tommy, which I thought was extremely smart, when he asked her, don't you want to try this out? Aren't you interested in knowing how this works? And once she delved into that, once she opened that box with Tommy, she's just as culpable as the rest of them now. She's already tested the drug. She likes the drug. She'll probably test it again a couple more times. She's just as vested as the rest of them. In fact, more, because she's the chemist.
You know, they kind of threw me for a loop, because at first I was thinking she was trying to walk out the door and maybe she would have done something to take them out. That's kind of what it felt like at first. I was like, is she trying to set them up so she can get herself free?
Exactly.
But then she came back to the counter and they all tried it. So I'm kind of interested to see where they go from there. She has to make herself valuable enough that they don't feel the need to get rid of her.
Right. She got to be able to do that thing without Liliana catching on, because Liliana wants to learn. Like, you know, Tommy has her over his shoulder, and I'm sure that the chemist is aware of that. Like, she like, nah, I ain't gonna ever let her know this recipe.
Right. Yeah. But she seemed like she was offering up a lot of information, though. She still was teaching her a little bit about the compounds and like certain mixtures of it. And of course, those were the failed mixtures, but we don't know what the conversations were like leading up to the final product, that one that actually worked. And so I don't know if she was, I mean, of course she was in there with her, but I don't know if she got to see the exact, you know, percentages of what was put in there.
You know what they say, a good chef never gives up the secret recipe. They'll give you some of it.
That's true. Right. They'll tell you just enough.
And you notice there was a part where she was talking about a substance, a component of the drug that made it glow. And Tommy was like, take that out. And so I wonder if she actually did that or not, or if she was, because she seemed intent on keeping that, because it's kind of like a signature, like a marker that separates this drug from any other designer drug, as they call it. But Tommy was also saying that makes us too identifiable. Like, so that could be a blessing and a curse.
And he's right.
I'm like, they're still talking about melanin though. That the whole description of it. And I was like, the way that it shows up, like, it's always the same description. If you remember Black Panther, the way they kind of describe vibranium, same thing. Or have you guys seen Dune, the movie Dune?
Yeah.
They're talking about the spice melange. Same thing. It's crazy how they're putting it in there. And when she said the thing about it glowing, that's part of what makes melanin unique. It's like condensed light. You know what I mean? Or collapsed light, maybe, is probably the better way of explaining it. And so I'm just watching them go through explaining this drug, and I'm like, that's exactly what they're talking about.
And if that's the case, I wonder where they're getting the supplies for, all of this stuff, because it seemed like it's not, well, the chemist Lauren said that it's not easily reproducible, and it's not, I guess, easily sourced either. So it's like, it really is supposed to be something that's unique and limited, but with Tommy trying to push to expand and make it cheaper and more accessible, well, where do you get the supplies to do so if it's not meant to be distributed in that way?
Well, I mean, it seems like they have a pretty big lab, and I suppose it's just everything that you would find in a huge laboratory. And this chemist is just smart enough to know which, ingredients that come together to make this.
But think about that though, because like different shows, we've seen so many drug shows where they'll have like every drug operation has somebody that cooks up the crack or does whatever they need to do to get it rocked up, and somebody knows how to do that. So how do you keep this unique recipe to yourself and still mass produce it without giving away the secret sauce?
Well, no, that's a good point. And like I say, it would require you opening that up to other people that can, or other chemists that can come in and do the same thing. And of course, the more people you bring in, the more susceptible that drug is to getting out in the street. So you're right. There's really no way to mass produce it, because that one woman just can't do it alone. And so they got a big problem on their hands, because they've already given it to CBI and Walters, Vicks.
But they don't know how to make it though.
They
don't even know where it comes from. So right now they are.
But the demand is there. I'm talking about the demand. So once that demand gets out, and then they got that valve, so they can go ahead and test it themselves, with other people. It's going to be a demand issue. It's going to be huge.
The fact that it's liquid form too is concerning, because there's no you don't use a dropper to take it. You just taking as much as you think is necessary. So it's like,
well,
what's the criteria to know how much to take, and what are the effects when too much is taken? Like they still haven't even studied any of that. And so I'm just worried about the fact that it's in liquid form. It's like taking cough syrup or something. You could try to eye it and take how much you think you should take, but who's to say when too much is too much?
It's crystal form or powdered form, isn't it?
Well, the vials, it looks like it's liquidous.
No, it was more of
and then when she takes it looked like she's almost putting it on as like lip gloss. It seems like it's kind of liquid form.
Those magnets that it's stuff that's I forget what you call it, but it's black and it looks like that, but it's magnetized. And it looks like a powdery substance.
I think I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? And I think that's the way it is. It was made with with a liquid, but it kind of crystallized, and that's what it is. But they're in a tough situation, period. It doesn't matter, liquid or otherwise. They're in a tough situation. I think the good doctor has bought up some more time coming up with the drug, because Tommy seems to be happy with that.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to allow Liliana.
Liliana.
I don't know why I can't. Yeah, I don't know why I can't get her name. Maybe because I don't want her on the show in the first place. But anyway, I'm just joking.
Leave Liliana alone.
What I did? I mean, it's obvious is there. The scar is it's obvious is there, but it just makes her so remarkable and noticeable. That whereas these other girls can kind of slip into the crowd and remake themselves because she has the scar, when she's associated with the drug, she's going to be the one that people are able to point out.
Right.
That's why they got rid of her in the first time when Ghost and them was like, nah, she got to go. She's too identifiable.
Well, maybe the first one.
And so it was either she leave town or she get taken out.
I think the first thing they need to do is get her some plastic surgery and get that scar off her face.
Well, I guess, I don't know. I think Liliana is kind of proven valuable because she did give Tommy the heads up about Vic and what Claudia did with him. But she just has to stay in line. She's proven herself to be valuable, but she can't overstep things, and she has to continue to prove her value to Tommy. Like, why should I keep you around, kind of thing. So, and I think that goes for Claudia too, because her days are numbered with Tommy as well. As soon as he gets the line, the product line to get the product himself, I think he can cut her out and just keep working with Lauren. So overall though, I enjoyed the episode. I'm looking forward to seeing what goes down, because we are winding down on this season. It's already episode 7, so we got like 3 more to go.
Yeah, and remember Isaac said that for the remaining few episodes, when you asked him the one word to describe the remaining episodes, he said electrifying. So I'm looking forward to seeing these remaining episodes.
Yep, that was from the Isaac Keys interview. So check that out again. I'll reiterate that because it was that good. And he definitely said that the last 4 episodes were very exciting to him, because he was like, I can't wait for y'all to see what happens. And Anthony Fleming, when he was on our show as well, if you haven't checked out that interview, go do so, because he also mentioned that the tail end of the season would be what you want to watch. Like, you do not want to miss that. And they all seem very excited about what's to come. So I'm like rubbing my hands together too. I'm like, it's already been a lot that's gone down. What more did they have in store for us? So looking forward to that. Do you guys have any closing remarks you want to make before we end?
Well, we didn't say who was getting the hands. Well, I said who was getting the hands for me, and Tommy Liliana for interrupting the date.
I'm giving Claudia the hands.
Claudia too, Jannard too.
Yeah, Claudia, Jannard, they can get the hands for sure. I'm even considering Marshall for pulling out that gun.
Yeah, Marshall should get the hands too. Well, who about the game ball?
Well, that'd have to be Doc.
Yeah, Lauren. She came up with the remixed drug. She spared herself, and she was able to get Tommy what he needed. So she's proven that something, and she made a mention of this. She was talking about usually something like this can take years to come up with, and she got it like that. So she's on it, and she definitely knows what she's doing. So I like her. I think she should get the game ball.
Yeah, you know what? There was a line that Vic said that really struck me before we go, when he was talking to his father, and his father was talking about family and the Gloria situation. He was like, "You're my family, but she's my home." I was like, "Wow, that hit me." I was like,
Indeed.
That line was
deep.
Yeah, he's very much so invested in Gloria, and if she don't turn up soon or answer a phone call or something, it's gonna be hell in that household.
I sure hope Walter didn't take her out. I'm hoping that she, just needed some space, and just skip town for a few days, but because it's gonna be hell on ice, man. I'm telling you, if she's gone or dead, Walter's and he'll see hell very quickly.
Yeah, and I think from her.
I think Vic will really spiral out of control too if she doesn't come around. Like, he's gonna start being very erratic.
Yep.
So, good observations, good conversation. If you guys want to drop down into the comment section and let us know your thoughts on this episode, please do so. Also give us your predictions for the remaining episodes this season. And make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell so that you're alerted every time we post. And again, we just want to thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you check out our interviews. We just had one with Isaac Keys, who plays Diamond. So check that out. And we have some other things in the pipeline. So make sure that you absolutely have that notification bell on, because got some good stuff coming. Follow us online too. We are at The Spot Real Talk on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, all the major social media networks. Check us out there, and give us a follow as well. I think it's about time we call it a night. If you guys don't have anything else to add, I'm gonna close out. See you guys next week. Have a good night.
Good night.
On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this is 7C.